Hello, Divine Feminine. That is who I'm speaking to in this video today. If you are a Divine Masculine listening, even better. I'm glad you're learning about this. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you clicked it, you were supposed to hear this, and I hope that you take something away from what I'm going to talk about. Basically, the name of the video is why I don't use chemical or any type of hormone-based birth control. I'm going to try and make it as quick of a story as possible. Well, I'm going to try and make it as concise of a story as possible. But let me start from the beginning. I got my cycle around 12 or 13 years old. And at that time, and even just I guess in my family, it's typical that you would have your cycle, you'd use a pad or a tampon. That's it. You put one of those on, wait till your cycle's over, the end. There was a girl that I knew who was around my age, whose mom actually put her on birth control around 12 or 13 years old, and I remember they said that they put her on it because of her acne. And I was a little confused about this because, it did help clear it up, but she still had acne, so I was kind of confused about why birth control was being used to treat acne. But most birth controls now, I think it's the number is over 11.5 million women are using hormone-based birth control. And a good percentage of those women, it isn't necessarily for pregnancy prevention. It's to treat other symptoms such as acne, severe cramps, etc. and so on. And just a disclaimer, this video is in no way intended to shame or insult anybody. Oops, my bad. Insult anybody who is on a hormone-based birth control or chemically-based birth control. It is my opinion just that I'm sharing with you, not to shame anyone. Make all the choices that you need to make for your body because it is your body. I'm just offering my path that I've taken in case anyone may resonate with it and choose to try it out, because I have noticed profound differences in my cycle versus women that I am surrounded by. Go back to the story. Disclaimer's over. So I, had my period pretty regularly every month since I was 12, and I have never been on birth control. And I want to say the main reason initially was because I was not sexually active, and I was not interested in being sexually active. I was not sexually active until very late. I lost my virginity at 20, so I was very non-sexually active in that way for a very long time. I never needed birth control, so I never thought about any forms of birth control until I became sexually active. And then even at that point in my life, I had already become a vegetarian. I had already been thinking about the things that I was putting into my body. So when it came time for birth control options, I know some people take a combination pill, which releases estrogen and progesterone. Then there's one that just releases progestin. There's the IUD, that's an intrauterine device that goes into your uterine area, and then there's one that goes in your arm. You get a Depo-Provera shot. There are a lot of different ways that you can get birth control, and if you do need it and need to use it, I recommend you look at all of your options first, because there are a lot of symptoms that come with using birth control and side effects. And I'm just sharing my personal opinion. I just use condoms, and I use vegan condoms. There are still a lot of chemicals that are placed into condoms anyway to prevent certain things, but I am very specific about what I allow into my body, and I've always been that way. So I'm very picky, just naturally, which made me even more just not. And I guess I should also say that I don't also believe in really taking medicine or traditional medicine. I believe in more holistic ways of healing myself. So if I had a headache, I wasn't taking Advil or Tylenol. That wasn't the first thing I did. Most of the time, my headaches stem from not drinking enough water. And if you look into that also, most of the time, symptoms that you are having or experiencing can be healed or helped or lessened because most people are extremely dehydrated. Even me. And I'm actually getting a lot better with that now, and I'm going to make a video about that. But anyway, so whenever I needed, I was having some kind of ailment, I'm just maybe a weirdo, and I like to feel that pain, or I like to just kind of breathe through it and let it pass, or drink some water, eat some better foods. I feel like it's my body just trying to talk to me. So I don't medicate to begin with. And when I had like really bad cramps and stuff, I wasn't taking a Midol. I wanted to feel that. I wanted to experience what my body was telling me. And I was like, I'll be better prepared. Like if I ever give birth, I didn't take any kind of medication and I fought through it. I'm going to be a lot better off. And if I do use medicine, then it's going to work really well because my body's not used to it, etc. and so on. So when it came time, when I started becoming sexually active, I just used condoms. And the reason that I feel like it's like I recommend just using like vegan condoms, or there are certain other ways you can not use birth control, like pills or like a hormonal pill, other than doing vegan condoms. There are also, I want to say it's called checking your basal body temperature, which is a lot more, it's usually for people who are trying to get pregnant is when people start doing this, but you can also do it to help prevent it because you'll still know when you're fertile. But you basically like record your temperature every day because your body temperature will fluctuate based on if you're fertile or not. But you can also tell in your vaginal canal, so like this is the opening of your vagina, like your cervix is like a little round thing at the top of it, and when you are close to being on your cycle or like getting into your fertility phase, your cervix actually lowers down and then rises back up after that time is over. So there's actually, I might link something about how to measure that, where your body is at. But there are other ways. Those are a little bit more risky, and I'm not trying to risk any of that. I'm not sexually active right now, so I'm still not concerned about it. But there are other options in order to do it, and they're basically called fertility awareness methods. And I'm saying "and" a lot. My bad. So I noticed at this point in my life where I'm at right now, a lot of women that I'm surrounded by have a lot of like issues either with being on hormonal based birth control or with their cycle in general, and it is related to two things in my opinion. This is all coming from like me just spending a lot of time intuitively like listening to my body and observing other women's bodies and putting things together. As far as people who are on hormonal birth control, there are so many side effects. You can have spotting, hormonal imbalances, and that's just from the progesterone and estrogen continually being active in your uterine lining, nausea, breast tenderness, headaches, weight gain, mood swings, missed periods, but that's because sometimes a lot of women will skip that sugar week, I think it is what it's called, and they'll just keep going, which is so, like, it's not good for your body. I understand why people do it because they don't want that period, but it also decreases your libido. It'll cause vaginal discharge and dryness. There are a lot of symptoms that come with it, and most women are okay with it because they're like, well, it's better than getting pregnant. But in all honesty, being so far removed from your natural cycle, I feel is detrimental if you're trying to become more spiritually sound within yourself. So I'm not, like I said, I'm still not trying to slam anybody who does it, because if you still do it, okay. I just feel like people should be more naturally respectful of the period. We've been taught and trained that it should be something that you are either disgusted by, annoyed by, you're dreading it. It becomes a really negative time every month for you, when in reality it's supposed to represent, like, that's when your feminine body is at its strongest, when it's at its most potent, is when you are on your cycle. Naturally, women are supposed to have 13 cycles a year, and there are 13 full moons a year. If your body is not being hormonally affected by birth control and you are eating a healthy diet full of fruits and vegetables, you are maintaining a good awareness of your body and staying highly in tune with it and treating it correctly, your periods will naturally start syncing up with new moon and full moon cycles, and that's because women are naturally made to be in alignment with the moon. So my thought was, okay, there's 13 moon phases, 13 cycles for a woman's period. The moon has a gravitational pull on the earth. It affects all of the oceans, the largest masses of bodies of water on this planet. We are 75% water. This makes sense to me that the moon phases would sync up with one another, and that pull would create a more circular flow as far as when our period starts, when a moon phase happens, in my personal opinion. And this is something I have noticed with my body since I have cut out any other things that could affect my natural cycle, such as diet, the products I use on my cycle, the birth control methods, and there are other things that can affect it as well, and I'm not dismissing those, but for the nature of this video and why I don't use birth control, this is why. So, ever since I stopped using the Tampax and Always brands that have the chemicals in them, I didn't necessarily go straight to using organic pads and tampons, although there are some really good brands out now, and I found a lot of them through working at Whole Foods. So when I look for a brand that I trust, I usually go to a health food store that has been selling a brand for a long time. So if you go into Whole Foods, look at all the brands that they sell. Those are companies that have started doing that as a company. That was like their initial goal, was to create a brand that was healthy for the body and also probably earth friendly and animal friendly. Always in Tampax, I saw recently, I went to buy some organic tampons. Now they're selling a certain section of Always and Tampax brands that have, it says chlorine free, no chemicals or dyes added. Oh, buy this. And I'm like, why would I want to buy those pads and tampons from you, a company who originally sold these products knowing that there were chemicals in them that were not good for my body and would cause me to have a heavier and longer flow and worse cramps, so that I could also purchase the Midol? Why would I then trust you and want to buy from you just because now you're deciding to hop on the bandwagon? Personally, I still don't buy from them, and I've decided to spend my money on companies who were originally already conscious and aware of the effects of those products on a feminine body, and were trying to provide an option that was healthier. Before I started using those though, I was using a menstrual cup, and I'll make a video about menstrual cups because there are so many different sizes and widths and lengths based on your cervix and tilted cervixes and what, etc. and so on. And I used this cup for a while, and I think I just don't know how to do it right or something, because it doesn't really hurt to put it in, because there's certain fold methods to get it in there, and then it opens up and it just collects blood, because you actually don't shed that much blood in a natural healthy period cycle if you're eating healthy, like I said, drinking lots of water, etc. and so on. So I actually didn't lose, like I didn't mind, like, you know, there was no like leaking or anything like that. But when it came time to take that thing out, I didn't know how to like put my hands in there and like do the fold without like blood just going everywhere, and I was like making a mess, and I was like, okay. And it would kind of hurt to take it out. So I was kind of getting scared, because every time I went to have to take it out, I'd be like, I don't want to do this, oh my god, it's gonna hurt. So I stopped using it, and I haven't used it again yet because I'm trying to find another brand that I prefer. But I started using the organic pads, tampons, and I noticed a drastic difference in the length and flow and cramps that I received during my cycle. I, like I said, have not been on birth control, but I still noticed a longer flow and sometimes heavier flow, even if my periods are short. My periods usually last, they used to last sometimes 7+ days when I wasn't eating a healthy diet and using those chemically treated pads and tampons. And then when I changed my diet, I noticed that the period was shorter. It wasn't as long. It was usually like 5 days at that point, and I wouldn't go past 5. And then when I cut out the chemical-based tampons and pads and went vegan, my period is now 3 days, and it is very light and is not an issue at all. I have no issues with my cycle now that I've cut out any processed foods, meat, dairy products, not using any chemical-based tampons or pads, or on a hormone-based birth control. I've always been hyper aware of my body though, so I can tell a couple days before I'm going to start my cycle. I keep track of my phases with this app called Flow. If you do not have an app to track your cycle and you are on your cycle, I highly recommend you do it. Create a personal relationship with your period. It is a very personal part of your body. I really want women, the divine feminine, to feel that that is a very important and potent time in your cycle. Every month you get that. It's basically, you should see it as an opportunity every month to shed so many things. And this goes into my conspiracy theory about birth control. I know that it is good for preventing pregnancy. I know it can help acne. I know this, I know that. But I also know the side effects. And I also know people who are on birth control. And I've seen what they were like when they were on birth control. And I've seen what they're like now that they are no longer on it. When I've witnessed the types of experiences they would have while on birth control, none of them were really like necessarily to do with what happened physically. For me, it seemed very much emotional and mental. Having extreme depression, not only just from the ups and downs of the hormones, but also from most of the time women will gain weight, they will have a change in their diet, they will have a change in what makes them happy, they will not feel happy most of the time. They will be going, because your body, your uterine lining, when it sheds, basically all the experiences that you've had from one period to the next, all your ups and downs, this and that, that is collecting in your energetic body. And that is building up in your uterine lining from that progesterone. When you're about to shed that egg, when it, like if it hasn't been fertilized and you shed it, along with that shedding, you are shedding all those emotions. That's supposed to be a time you're purging anything that you went through from that last cycle to this new cycle. You're supposed to be shedding any negative energy out of your body, any negative experiences. You're supposed to be processing your emotions during that time. So when you're not using that time, when you're shedding in that way, and you're not shedding at all because you're on a birth control, those emotions will stay in your womb and they will build up and they will circulate around your body, and you will feel emotions from past cycles that you didn't shed and wonder why you're sad about this or depressed about that, or why you feel like your body is constantly hungry because your hormones are fluctuating up and down, thinking, are you pregnant? No, you're not pregnant. Well, you could be hungry. No, you shouldn't eat. Yeah, you should eat now. I just feel like it's very, I'm like a huge conspiracy theorist, so like I believe a lot of the time that like the things that are made by large corporations are like for our detriment. I'm trying to release that negative attitude about like what I think companies are like their goal is as far as like the things that they offer to us. First of all, I don't even think you should have to pay for pads and tampons because whatever, but I'm not going to get into that. But I do truly feel that a lot of the things that we think are given to us or made for us, we think that they are, obviously we assume that they're going to be good for us and beneficial, but a lot of times they are not, and that isn't their job most of the time to make sure that they're beneficial and make you happy and healthy. It's because they're trying to make money. Money, okay? The 3D world revolves around money. I know for the friends that I saw who were on the birth control, when they got off of it, completely different person. Completely different. Their eating habits changed, sleeping habits changed, the creativity levels increased, the things that they started going back into their own personal hobbies and interests. They weren't like just laying in bed being depressed and sleeping and feeling tired and lethargic and moody. They were finding themselves again. And I get so excited when I know someone who has been on birth control who decides to stop taking a chemically based birth control, because you don't realize how much closer you are to finding yourself when you do that. I truly, honestly feel that women are supposed to have a period every month, and it's only because of our diet and because of the products that we use that our cycles are so like detrimental, or we see them as detrimental because they would be heavy. You would be bleeding a lot, you would be in a lot of pain. But if you are on your soul journey and you are trying to put better things into your body and eating a better diet and spending more time with your womb and like talking to your body and analyzing your body and thinking about what you are. Anyway, I'm getting on a tangent, and I will go on tangents. I'm really not going to do that. So my main point is me choosing not to be on birth control is because I feel that it helps me personally connect more to my divine feminine nature, to be in tune with the natural cycle and flow of my body every month, and that shedding of that blood helps me to shed energies that I no longer need to hold in my body. It helps me release any energy people have put on me, put into me if you're sexually active. It is a natural way for women to help cleanse themselves, because we are a natural charging and healing center for masculine energy. We cleanse masculine energy with our bodies, our portals. Like I said, the yoni is what I call it. I feel that just even trying to go down that route, whether spiritual or not, some people do choose to do that more for health reasons versus spiritual reasons. Whatever reasons you do have, if you do decide to look into not taking a hormonal-based birth control, I think you would find that it would lead you down a much more intimate and divine path back to your feminine nature. Again, thank you if you clicked on this video. I hope you learned something personal for yourself and your life, things that you can add into it and take out of it. This video was only meant to help, not to hurt anyone's feelings or harm anyone's way of life. I hope you resonated with the message today, and I will see you guys next time on the Moon Lagoon. Peace and love.